Why is it that for centuries, black Africans were seen as the biggest threat to white supremacy? Not because of weakness, not because of ignorance, but because of our strength, our resilience, our culture, and our undeniable power. Today, we're diving into the untold truth of why colonizers, enslavers, and entire systems of power were terrified of black Africans, and why that fear still echoes today. Fear of losing partners to black Africans. From the moment Europeans encountered African societies, there was fascination and fear. African men and women were admired for their beauty, strength, and vitality, but this admiration turned into paranoia. Colonizers feared interracial unions would dilute their so-called purity. In fact, records from the 1600s show laws were passed to punish white women who married or bore children with African men. The fear wasn't love, it was losing control. Physical superiority of black Africans. Europeans quickly realized something else. Africans were strong, on plantations, in fields, in combat. African men and women displayed physical endurance colonizers couldn't match. Sports, music, rhythm, even resistance in war. Africans carried natural strength, resilience, and community power. And that scared the system, because a people physically strong could never be kept weak forever. Fear of genetic annihilation. Here's the part history books rarely admit. Many white supremacists openly wrote about their biggest fear, genetic annihilation. They feared that if Africans mixed freely with Europeans, white genes would disappear. The logic was twisted, racist, and pseudoscientific, but it led to centuries of segregation and one-drop laws. Because deep down they knew the truth. African DNA is dominant. Fear of extinction. Colonizers didn't just see Africa as land to conquer. They saw it as a threat to their survival. Imagine a continent larger than the US, China, India, Japan, and most of Europe combined, rich with resources, rich with people. Africans had kingdoms, gold, universities, and armies. If united, Africa could wipe away European dominance overnight. So the strategy was clear: divide and conquer. Fear of being replaced. From Haiti's revolution to civil rights marches, the fear was always the same. What if they rise? When enslaved Africans in Haiti overthrew Napoleon's army, the strongest in the world, it sent shockwaves through Europe and America. The enslavers realized if Africans unite, they can replace entire systems of oppression. That fear of being replaced still fuels modern politics, coded as replacement theory, inferiority complex. Here's the irony: colonizers who called Africans inferior were secretly battling an inferiority complex. They saw pyramids, art, medicine, and civilizations in Africa that were older and more advanced than Europe's. They knew Africans weren't primitive. They were powerful. So instead of admitting it, they rewrote history. Fear of losing white supremacy. At the root of it all, the fear of losing white supremacy. Everything, slavery, segregation, colonization, even the erasure of statues and history was about control. Because once Africans are free to rise, the false system of supremacy collapses. So ask yourself, were black Africans truly the threat? Or was it the lie of white supremacy that was always too fragile to survive the truth? Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this fear still shapes the world today? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk. Because history only has power if we keep the conversation alive.